YouTube account. And in just a second, we will be live, which means if you have to go to the bathroom, you can come back and you don't miss a thing if you go up to our YouTube and just click on and watch it live. Um, so if you do not want to be on the recording, please turn off your video. Otherwise, you will be on the recording. And you'll find those recordings at the NWSOFA.org website. And when you get there, you just click on the tab at the top that says YouTube. You click on the link and you choose live, which has about 20 different events that we have done this with over the last 3 weeks. And it's really quite cool. So with that, Rebecca, you are live.
I'm the host.
In a second.
Okay.
You are
all right. Cool.
Real quick, I saw in the chat about Thursdays. So going forward, we are only going to be going forward on Tuesdays. We are considering a Saturday session, but we will keep you updated on that. So going forward, it's only Tuesdays at 5 p.m. But we will keep you updated, y'all. We are going to do our best to bring you Sorting Soup as often as we can. To be honest, we all got a little overextended, so we had to cut back our hours. And so now this is what we can do, and that's where we are. So today, your hosts, I'm Cecilia, your co-facilitator, and we have Dr. Melissa, who is driving it in, which is great. And I'm not sure if Dr. Chris is with us yet, but
she just joined us.
Oh, fantastic. Then yes, we have her as well. We have Rebecca, who will be our timekeeper today. And y'all, we have a hard stop at 6:30. So we really have to be strict on our time. We have Beth M, it will be our vibe check and our chat monitor today. And we have Boot Money, who is our shaman and our philosopher general. So, you know, y'all, we have a great team together. And we have Merle helping us out as well. If you have any questions, just you can raise your hand or put them in the chat. All right, moving on.
Okay, so logistics. Many of you have heard this many times before, so I'll try and keep it short. But for those of you who are new, welcome to Sorting Soup. This is a group space with two main purposes. The first of which is dealing with the issues of the day. Something new comes down the pike every single day, sometimes more than one thing. And this is a community where we can get together and talk about it and have that emotional and analytical processing in a safe space. But then also, we take any insights that we gather from that processing portion, and then we brainstorm as a group to come up with action items. So it started a couple of months ago now, after a 2-hour after hours coffee and conversation call, where it seemed like people needed more time to go deeper and into these objectives that I just talked about. So here we are. When we meet, looks like we updated the day of the meeting, but this should say 5 to 6:30 Central now. So my bad, we'll get that updated. But yes, we do have an absolutely hard stop at 6:30, so that the folks for the 7 o'clock call tonight, which is on economics and fiscal news, so that they have a chance to prepare as a team. So as Cecilia mentioned, I'm the timekeeper for today, and we are going to keep it moving. So I'm going to be stricter than usual, probably. Group norms, when we get to the discussion point, the point of the agenda where we have group discussion, you'll raise your digital hand to contribute to the discussion. That's in your Zoom menu. You'll hit the heart button, and then from there, you'll have a raise hand option. So it's the heart button and raise hand. When you make your comments, make sure we're keeping everything civil and constructive so that this is a safe space. If you see a problem, if you can try and come with a solution type mindset, we know that's not always possible, but something to strive for. And last thing is sometimes we do hit on some pretty heavy stuff. So if you need to take a break or a breather or step away, you can absolutely feel free to. Melissa, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just want to check. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Do you want you want us to mute when we're talking just to kind of reduce the noise up?
Yes, if everybody can be on mute when you're not sharing, that'll help us understand those that are speaking better. All right. Today's plan, we're going to split our time between processing and brainstorming, and our topic is GOP overreach and just general outrageous behavior, which is in the headlines these days. One additional note, when we do get into the group discussion, there will be a couple of on-screen prompts. So if you want to talk in and respond to those prompts, you absolutely can. If there's something else that's in your heart that you'd like to talk about, you can also share that. We just ask that each person keep their comments to 2 minutes. And tonight I will probably have to enforce that pretty firmly if we've got a lot of folks with hands up. But the good news is that you can raise your hand again and you can speak multiple times. So with that, I think we're ready to start our processing part. Oh, nope, I jumped the gun. Okay.
Nope, we have to breathe.
Forgot about that.
That's all right. The Bardo. Y'all, the Bardo is the space between crisis and response, between what has been and what will be, between despair and imagination. So let's take a moment to pause together and make sure your feet are solid, or if you're sitting down, you can just be still. Make sure you're all right. So take a deep breath in. What am I holding in right now that feels too heavy to name? And breathe out. Another deep breath. What truth have I been afraid to speak out loud? Exhale. And another deep breath. What is still possible, even here, in this moment? Let each breath be a small act of resistance against numbing. Let it soften your body, even if only slightly. Let it make room for grief, for truth, for clarity. Breathe again, one more time, deep breath. And exhale. You are not alone in the in-between. Let's step out into the soup and get going. So today, we are going to start by discussing Texas State Representative Nicole Collier was forced to stay overnight in the Capitol after refusing to sign a GOP permission slip and accept a police escort, a rule targeting Democrats. Also, the takeover of Washington, D.C. and the militarization of our democratic cities. Also, Governor Gavin Newsom coming in hot. But where are the other Democrats in leadership? So, if you have, now these are just 3 topics that I chose. There's plenty of other things in the news right now. So if you have anything, I mean, you can choose to speak about these 3 topics, or you can choose to speak about something that you would like to talk about. You can raise your hand or speak in the comments. Oh, Deanna, I see that. Very concerned about, hello, Giovanni. Very concerned about Trump taking away the mail-in voting option. Oregon was first to have mail-in, and it works so much better than in-person day of voting. I agree right there because, okay, Trump said that we are the only country that does mail-in voting. Okay, first of all, that's untrue. Like by a long shot.
It says somewhere 34% of the country of the world has mail-in voting is what I just saw.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Many countries have mail-in voting. It is a very safe and secure way of doing that. And other countries even do vote by phone now. Like there are many different ways of voting. And vote by mail is a very safe and secure way of voting, especially like Oregon. Their safety, their state, very safe and secure voting measures. State voting, no, he cannot take away mail-in voting. Voting is done by the states.
And in Oregon, it's only mail-in, which makes us a little unique. You if you had problems, you go to the district office or some place there, by county if you're having issues and you didn't get the ballot, and there's all that kind of stuff. But I was like, what? So thanks for listening.
You're welcome, hon. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine that he can make this argument well, because like you say, first of all, it disenfranchises the military. So how can he possibly say that he's for the military first of all, if he's going to take away the one possible way that the military votes productively, right?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Supposedly, it's also in the Constitution that it says, like, it's up to the states somehow. I don't have the
Exactly.
wording in front of me right now, but
No,
that's
you're
about-
correct. Voting is down to the states. It is down to the states.
And so our attorney general is all over it here in Oregon because we're like, what? We've been doing this for like, whatever, 30 years or whatever, 20. And there's like 0.000001, like 2 or 3 instances out of millions of votes or whatever. I'm not saying there was never anything wrong, but much more accurate than what we've, the old way of doing it. So thanks for letting me whine.
This is not whining. This is something to be very worried about. He is trying to take away our right to vote. The ways in which we vote, he is trying to take them away. He is trying to disenfranchise our ability to vote. And it's not whining, dear. You have every right to speak.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the way
Bruce is up.
Oh, Bruce, go ahead. Sorry, I can't see very well. Go on, Bruce.
Hello from Palm Beach County. You said this was about overreach.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, I could go on for the entire time. So Rebecca, please stop me for 2 minutes after 2 minutes.
All right, I'm setting my timer.
This whole administration is taking us to an authoritarian oligarchy, and it's one thing after another. If you've attended the Million Rising, the pillars, one by one, are starting to crumble. We're not there yet. We still need to fight. We still need to resist. And I know a lot of people like Robert Reich and Mark Elias all say that we need to keep going and don't give up. But we have the mail-in is one thing. It's voter suppression. The problem is he can put pressure on GOP states, just like he did with the redistricting in Texas, and say, I want you to do this. And who knows whether they will or not for the red states. This whole thing about redistricting, he's the one who started it in Texas. I mean, I would much prefer there's no gerrymandering and there be a federal, for all elections, an independent commission. But that's not the way it's been. Some of the blue states have these independent commissions, like California. Now they're going to suffer from it because they have to go through all these steps to gerrymander. And this is not serving the people, the constituents well. They're knocking out the voting rights protections, among other things. So that's a major concern. All his executive orders, not all of them, but a good number of them, great overreach. Look at birthright citizenship and so forth. His ICE, the way they have the ICE agents with the masks and no ID and deportation. Supreme Court 9-0 and 7-2 said you got to give them due process. Well, of the 200 people who he traded for Venezuela that were in the El Salvador prison, did any of them have due process? I didn't hear about that. Yet he made a trade, and they had an opportunity to contest whether or not they should even have been deported. But really, the voter suppression is a big problem because that's one of the pillars of they want to stay in power. That's one of the authoritarians' goals, and we can't allow that to happen. So I say keep active, and on this one rep in Texas, yeah, it's an authoritarian trap to keep her in there. It might even be illegal. Who knows whether it is or not, and whether or not she'd have a civil lawsuit against them for refusing to sign a consent about being under surveillance for 24/7, which the other Democrats agreed to. She wouldn't do it. I've seen her interviewed on it. Militarization of Washington, that's
Hi,
another
Bruce.
authoritarian playbook issue. I will stop. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank-
Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. I was wondering if she had grounds for a civil litigation and why did all of the other Democrats choose to sign? Why didn't they all stick together?
I can't answer that, and I don't know Texas law to know if it's false imprisonment or not, and whether they had a right to do that. But I I advise her to see an attorney and see if she has an action.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. All right, Judy, you're up next. Judy, are you at work? Can you come on? Can you unmute? Or should we skip you and go on?
Let's go to Gerald.
All right, we'll go to Gerald. Judy,
Wait,
we'll come back.
I got it. I found it. I
Okay,
just couldn't
okay,
find
we'll
the
come
thing. I just couldn't find the thing. Okay.
Okay,
So, cou- couple of things. First of all, I wanted to give kudos to Rebecca for the thing that you were talking about Friday night about going and standing in front of ICE with a sign saying ICE is here, or in front of the courthouse saying ICE is here. I was so proud of you. I just was incredibly proud of you.
Thank you.
And that was number one. And I wasn't in a position to go and talk on Friday, so I just had to say that. And the big thing that really got my goat was I saw an article which I posted on Facebook in a bunch of groups this morning about this guy in, I think it was Maine. What he was here violating his visa, and but he had been working as a police officer in the reserves. And the thing that was the big issue was that E-Verify had told the police department that it was okay to hire him. And now Homeland Security is telling them that that employers cannot trust E-Verify to say whether or not it's okay to hire. And so what they're doing is they're setting it up so that it's not going to be safe to hire any immigrant at all. Because if you can't trust E-Verify, then you can't hire anybody, because you can be then held responsible. And this is a major issue that's being held really quiet under the, I found it with just this little note that, it was like a Google thing that this guy's going back home because, and he's paying his own way to go back home. And that's why I thought it was really important to highlight it. And I just was really upset by it. And I look for a lot of those weird things. Those are the ones that I tend to post and put out there because we all see the big stuff. And Kwame Raoul just filed another case to support our state as far as us keeping our rights to have be a sanctuary state and not lose funding to support our victims. That's the 34th case that he's filed since the beginning of this administration. I saw him in person on Sunday, and he was amazing. And for those of you who are around here in the Chicago area, if you're not aware of it, Bernie's going to be in town next Sunday afternoon. Look it up. And with that, I'm going to drive home. So I'll be listening to you.
Awesome. Be
Thanks, Judy.
safe, Judy. Well, I'm on that. That's awesome that Bernie's going to be in town.
By the way, it was Maine.
Okay.
I have a question. Are we doing breakout rooms today, or are we staying together as a group?
I I'm thinking that we might stay together. I think that there's probably, because there's not a whole lot of us. So I'm thinking that we should probably just stay together.
That sounds good. Okay, so that gives us an extra, well, we'll just stay together and keep chatting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That E-Verify, that scares the living bejesus out of me, actually. That's
That's like
y'all,
not even based in fact. That's just them believing what they want to believe.
yeah, basically. Sorry, okay. Gerald.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Gerald Ladner. I'm based in Austin, Texas. I'm a recently retired insurance company executive, and I'm serving on 3 independent board of directors. I've become more and more engaged because I've been in Texas over 26 years, and there's a level of institutional corruption that I'm witnessing, not only at the federal level, but also at the state level. The approaches that I've been using is since I'm retired, I've been taking more neighbors out to lunch as I walk my dog, engaging folks in discussions, and also putting posts out on Nextdoor, the app, uh, dealing with a non-political subject, but doing it in a way it raises questions to create what I would call critical thinking. I have testified before the Texas Senate and House in my prior capacity. I have a lot of friends over there. The thing that I'm finding as we're moving forward is we're going to continue to see acts that have just broken norms and traditions of what it meant to be a good leader. Now we basically have to ask ourselves a question. The younger generation watching this behavior, what are they learning and how they're going to behave in the future? And I was actually invited by Beth Ann to join you guys because she's seen some of my posts on Nextdoor. And I'm actually getting a lot of traction in terms of just asking basic questions. So when I look at this whole dynamic at the Capitol, it is clear they want to talk about the flood victims, but the fact is they just have prioritized gerrymandering as the number one motivation to get something done. They could care less about the flood victims or doing what's right to deal with that. When I look at the takeover to Washington, D.C. militarization, first of all, they don't know history. Trump has crossed the Rubicon, and you do not use our military forces in the way that he's doing it. And that is going to create morale problems within the military. My daughter went to West Point. She and I have conversations regularly about what are the implications. And I think the average citizen doesn't understand. It's what I call the Dunning-Kruger effect in psychology. We have a population that's going along and not asking questions. And more importantly, are they mobilizing for action? So one of the things that I'm doing on my Facebook and LinkedIn profile is discreetly having conversations about what should the 2026 agenda be. First, it should be defund ICE to pre-2025 levels. So all those boys that signed up to get the 6-figure checks, they better not get too comfortable. There needs to be a bipartisan committee to identify and recommend prosecution for any federal official that has committed financial crimes. Financial crimes are being committed all over the place. They need to create a coherent immigration strategy. This has been a subject that's been going on for over 40 years, crossing all administrations. And if the reason it's not done, no one wanted it done. I see down here in Texas is a lot of business like the roofers. Most of the roofer contractors are undocumented workers. Most of the lawn care services are undocumented workers. So the real question is if we're serious about this, then there should be a path forward. But also, let's face the fact, birth rates are declining. We don't have enough population to support our social safety net beyond 2035. Why is it that folks cannot connect the dots? And I think what it is that the Democratic Party is not speaking plainly enough to help people.
Hey, Gerald, I'm gonna, just
Cut
for
me
sake
off.
of time, I'm gonna
Yep,
cut you off, but
that's
I'm
fine.
also going to tell you, what is it, tomorrow? Tomorrow at 7 o'clock. This is perfect. You couldn't have queued me up better. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we have this group called Vision Forward. And we are putting together, well, so far we've put together our values and our vision of what a pro-democracy society slash country should look like. And tomorrow we're going to start talking about policies. And it sounds like that is where your head is at, my man. And then the next session, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow, is actually talking about strategies that we ourselves can do and that we should be calling on our representatives to do. So I think you should be a member of our Vision Forward Club.
Please.
Please.
Oh, that didn't sound too like forward, did it? Sorry.
We're
Well,
called Vision Forward because
all right. Well, I
Because
do
we're
have a
forward.
commitment. I do have
Oh.
a commitment for tomorrow evening, but you can count me in 2 weeks from now.
It's recorded, I promise.
All right.
excellent. Thank you so
Awesome, Sarah.
much.
Thank you so much. Okay, Charlene.
Hi. This is my first time here. I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Ooh,
I think the
go Lions.
critical issues that I'm concerned about are the voting rights, voting protection issues. I think Trump is definitely on 3 or 4 different fronts trying to stop us from voting and from having free and fair elections. And the redistricting in Texas and the other states is an issue. And this whole crap about stopping mail-in voting and all of the rest of it is a giant issue. I believe that that is probably the biggest threat right now. And maybe equal to the threat with ICE showing up and pulling people off the street. I think those are the 2 biggest gigantic issues we've got. So that's sort of my 2 cents, and I'm not sure exactly what. I know that the Constitution sets forth that the states have the right to run the elections. And I don't believe that the president can change it. There may be some changes that Congress can make, and that is worrisome. I think there might be a couple of things Congress can tinker with, but I don't think they can change state decisions like the decision to allow mail-in voting, early voting, and those kinds of things. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, welcome, Charlene. Yes, Myra, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I think that any changes that Congress can make takes up like a majority, doesn't it? I need to find that.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I need to do a little research on that. But okay. Evan, you're up next.
Hey all, thanks for having me. Also my first meeting,
Hi.
coming from Chicago, Illinois.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks again for having me. But I think everyone brings up great topics, and obviously, we're kind of living through pretty unprecedented times for American history, at least. But with that being said, I think there's a lot of us, myself included, who feel disenfranchised from the quote unquote left, the Democratic Party. And there doesn't seem to be a right way forward, especially with all these issues that we bring up. There doesn't seem like there's an action plan. So would love to hear from you all. What is some actionable steps that we can take? What's the steps to organization? Is it behind a group? Is it behind an individual? How does that look? Would love to hear some input.
Okay. I would love to talk about it because that is what we're going to talk about next. Melissa, did you want to say something first?
Just for a second, first of all, I agree that we need forward. This is for all this meeting.
Ooh, you're breaking up, babe.
I just so say, put my hand down then. There we go.
Oh,
Well, Melissa, turn off your video and then repeat it.
Oh, okay. Does that help?
yeah, it
Yeah.
helps.
Okay. So no, I was just going to say, for the sake of Judy, which she had mentioned, the person who was in the reserves and was picked up by ICE, I think is what it was. And when people are in the military, they shouldn't. He was hired as a police officer and all that. When people are in the military, it's either, and I don't know why it was
Mm.
this problem.
Now you're going in and out. Oh, lost her.
Lost you, babe. I'm sorry, Melissa. We
Okay,
lost you.
that's all right.
We'll try again later. Like I said, Melissa was driving it in. Okay, Evan, back to you. Can we pull up the slides to go? Is this a good time to transition to our next? Do we have another hand up? I can't see.
We have Kathy Kentrell.
Kathy Cantrell, let's hit you right before we leave. Switch to the next one.
Okay, my thought is that I don't know if it's right or not, but I've heard several experts on news programs that have stated that their goal is to bankrupt Social Security.
Oh, yeah.
And so that would explain what Gerald was saying, is they get rid of all the Mexicans who are contributing to Social Security but cannot take anything out. So they're going to bankrupt it and basically probably raid it. You know.
Yes, ma'am. This is part of the plan. You are correct. They want to bankrupt Social Security because they think it's worthless. Yes, you're because they're trying to get rid of all of the social programs that we have. They're trying to the safety nets, the social safety nets, right? They're trying to get rid of all of the ways the programs that help all of the people that they're trying to get rid of, the disabled people, the
old people,
all of the people that they're trying to get rid of. Mm-hmm. And Julie, you'll be the last before we switch over to our next section.
Got it.
Okay. I've got the brainstorming slide up. Do you see it?
Not yet.
Does anybody see it? Here, I'll stop sharing.
Yes, I see it. Yes, it's been up for a while. I see it.
Oops.
You had it better when it was large.
There we go. Okay. Sorry, Julie, you can go ahead and say what you needed to say, my girl.
I can't,
There you are.
I can't unmute.
You are unmuted.
Oh, am I unmuting? Okay. I didn't know I had the power.
You have the power.
I have the power. Okay. All right. I just mentioned a couple things in the chat that we're already kind of gone through. I really am pulling for Collier in Texas. I've already called the governor and the speaker's office and said, let her go. And so I think we need to do whatever we can, make phone calls and just cause a ruckus on that end. And I guess, let's see, I already forgot Evan. And I think that very good point with the Democratic Party. We're all kind of looking for who can do what, and it kind of points all back to us. And I'm gonna start sounding like a broken record, as Rick would say, and say that we can take it over. Let's take that party and make it our own, and pull together our progressive ideas. And there is already infrastructure within the party in order to do that. You have to become part of it to change it, though.
Exactly.
And so that is my main point on that. And that's really all I could think of. I know I thought of 5 other things, but that's enough for now. And oh, and I have COVID.
I was
Oh,
just about to ask,
no.
are you
And
okay?
I'm so bummed out because my daughter's in town with my new grandson,
Oh,
and I
honey,
can't see him now. And so I apologize for the voice. So
no.
anyway, that's my state of mind. And so thank
I-
you for letting me speak.
Hugs to you. I'm hugging you right now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I need all the hugs I can get.
Well, I'm hugging you
all the
here
virtual hugs.
today. I'm social distancing hugging you, but just kidding, honey.
Still out there. It's still out there. And honestly, this is the first time I've ever had it that I know of. So
Really? Lucky
yes,
you.
uncanny. I know.
Wow.
But okay. But enough of that. Thank you.
Well, okay. So back to Evan. All right. So how are the best ways to support people who stand up to bullies? I will tell you. Okay. So A, publicly voice your support, mobilize community action, provide political and logistical backing as much as you can. So like volunteer, donate, and other professional technical support if you can, as in like if you can, the IT support, the logistical support. If you can't, then just whatever you can do. Throw as much attention their way as possible. Any kind of people who stand up to bullies, you throw attention their way as much as you can. And defend against harassment and backlash. Elevate their stories. We have something called sharing their stories. That's another like vision forward, sorting soup. The sharing their stories, I think, is probably going to be one of our biggest impactful groups, just because stories have the biggest impact. And once we get these stories out there, those resonate. Okay. So this woman's story, but other stories as well, they will resonate. And when you find those people who stand up to the bullies, you take those stories and you spread them like wildfire, because those are the things that resonate with people. And you can write op-eds or letters to the editor supporting their leadership. You can host podcasts. Hey. You can host webinars or interviews to help them reach the wider audience. And you can just helping get the stories out there, and engaging in the ongoing dialogue. And most just expressing appreciation and solidarity. Y'all, you have no idea how hard this is. You have no idea how hard it is to just keep going, to just keep doing this. That woman who spent the night in a Texas chamber because she was told she couldn't go home. I mean, that's ridiculous. She was told she couldn't go home unless she had surveillance. That's so she had members of the Democratic Party bring her things, and she had she had to have supporters. She had to have people come in and bring her clothes and food and other things, and she slept on the y'all. It takes supporters. It takes support to do this. So to send thank you notes or creative tokens of appreciation to reinforce what they're doing and that they're not alone. I mean, just that little bit is good, right? So moving on from how the best ways to support people who stand up to bullies, is the deployment of force strictly political in Washington, D.C., under the Democratic, targeting cities under Democratic control, especially with majority minority populations while sparing others? And that's part A. Part B of that question, with flooding in Wisconsin, Tennessee, and Texas, fires in California, Colorado, and Idaho, and a tsunami in Alaska, where have all of these National Guard troops been sent? Now, all of that I mentioned, the flooding in Wisconsin, Tennessee, and Texas, and the fires in California, Colorado, and Idaho, that's all in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I take that back. The Texas fires, that's not in the last 2 weeks. But they are still, they're still dealing, they're still dealing with what happened from before. But the Wisconsin and Tennessee fires are in the last 2 weeks, or floods are in the last 2 weeks. And everything else is in the last 2 weeks. So why have all of, like, several different states sent their National Guard to Washington, D.C.?
Because that is where the king sent them.
Right. And my question, so what can we do? Well, unfortunately, it's not much better. Stay informed and educate others. Pressure lawmakers and decision makers. And this is where the next part comes in. We have 15 Democrat trifecta states. Why is Governor Newsom the only one coming in hot?
I'm having conversations about, Bill made me the host, so I can't raise my hand, but my hand is up.
Yes, your hand's up. Come on.
So I'm having conversations like this more at a local level, with local Democrats, because, here in the Chicago suburbs, where it's like you kind of don't expect ICE to be showing up, like in Wheaton or in St. Charles or Geneva, they're showing up. August 1st, Wheaton had our first ICE arrest of an immigrant going into Jewel to get some groceries. Not doing anything wrong, just getting his groceries. And 5 ICE guys came with their trucks and picked him up and took him away. And his wife was standing there left crying. So we're, my group, my local Indivisible group is organizing an event on September 6th. So I'll be sharing some details on that when we get a little farther along. But we're talking about, like, why don't we have local Democrats or our representative? Are they just not hearing about this? Why are they being so silent? And it's happening outside of the courthouse in Kane County, which is 1 county over from me. Like, why is nobody decrying this? It's just a mystery, the silence.
I agree that that Pritzker is amazing. And here's the thing about Illinois. Illinois is already gerrymandered. So we cannot do what California is doing. However, I believe that Pritzker can be more vocal. I wish he would be more vocal. He is an amazing orator, and I want him to speak more. So what we need to do is we need to contact his office more and give him the push to speak more. We need to tell him, we need to hear more from you. We need you to get on more podcasts. We need you to be more vocal. Please, we need you out here more. And other, if you're in another state, you need to contact your governor. If you have other local officials, if you have mayors, Democratic mayors, Democratic local officials, because I know that if you live in a red state, then you're probably not going to have a very good, opportunity to have. I mean, okay, I take that back. Wu, okay, you can call Wu and you can be like, hey, Mr. Wu, I need you to be more vocal. But he's doing a great job. So I take that. I mean, he's going to be awesome about it. It just, we need to just be more vocal about this. It takes all of 5 minutes, y'all. 5 minutes to call their office and just ask, please be more vocal. Please use your platform. You need to be more vocal. We will have your back. We will be there for you. I need you to use your voice and your trifecta government. And what is a trifecta? It's when you have a governor and your state legislature is all Democrat. And that's what we have here in Illinois. We have governor and your Senate and your Congress, like all of it is Democrat controlled so that we can get more passed quickly. And that we have 15 of those right now in the country. So I'm hoping that we can get more passed.
We have a hand up.
We have a hand up.
From Chris W.
Chris W.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Hello. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to try and keep this brief, and I'm going to start with what you were just speaking about. It was interestingly, Adam Kinzinger spoke to this about a week or so ago, and he said of one of the most important things is, I just want to echo what you were saying, to reach out and to make noise to our elected leaders. He said, being in Congress, he said, this is what he's seen to be the most powerful effect when their phone is ringing off the hook, when they're getting emails, when people are showing up. He said, for whatever reason, doesn't matter, right, wrong, or indifferent, this is how they historically respond. Whether it's just how they're queued up, trained, agreement reality, whatever it is. So I think that what you were saying is vital. And it was interesting that it came from Adam Kinzinger, who's been there. I think the larger issue is, where is elected leadership? 2022 SCOTUS leaked document, Roe v. Wade. Very few Dem leaderships said, don't worry, we're going to prevent this. They did nothing. After it was struck down, don't worry, we're going to do something to rectify it. Nothing was done. To this day, I'm going to say it this way, Democratic Party, Congress, DNC has no game. I mean, that's painfully clear. I don't know if they don't understand the animal in front of them they're dealing with, are disinterested, but when this happened in 2022, I turned to my family and I said, you know what? This is going to sound crazy, but the question has to be begged. Are they complicit? Because look, you get your power and your liberties taken away through just a few means. One of them is someone who an active aggressor comes and takes them from you and you can't defend against yourself. The other are those who are in charge of protecting you, who simply stand aside and do nothing. The end result is the same. And I mean, it's been years. There's nothing done. So I think that also what we're talking about here in terms of pushing our leadership to do something is also a wonderful push test. Because at the end of the day, if they really are doing nothing, then somehow they need to be replaced. And unfortunately, Trump and company have encouraged a different breed of elected official to come into office. It's the looter mentality. It's when the mafia comes in and they attract others with the same mentality in that wake because, hey, you know what? This is where the new game is. This is where the new grift and graft is happening. And those people with those frames of mind are the ones who populate the place now. Well, the same pathway can be used in opposition to that. Through our elected leadership, creating the call, the dog whistle to those who would like to be in Congress and those few that probably are still left in Congress who actually do believe in these principles, who do believe in keeping our democracy intact. And it would encourage them to galvanize. This is clearly, there is no push button, go action plan to make this happen. And it is pretty messy right now, but I think understanding where we're at, the road we've traveled, and the realities of that, and thinking that just our democratic leadership as it is right now is going to do something. Hey, you know what? Maybe, but damn it, where have they been for years now? And I'm gonna throw something else here really quick, just because I think it really ties together. I think there are many people who don't understand the animal in front of them, and this is how people in societies have historically gotten eaten. And he uses a mafia business model. That's what he uses. Strong arm tactics, threats, shakedowns. The tariffs are just an international shakedown. It scales whether it's a mafia on the block or mafia internationally. Gaming rule of law, removing disappearing federal judges and key department heads through executive control over formerly independent agencies like the Department of Justice, Department of Education, now the Federal Reserve. This is exactly how mafia works. And so this is not being talked about hardly at all in this context. And when that happens, if we can't identify what the threat is and who the threat is, then we can't properly create tactically driven strategies to oppose and keep what we have and maybe scrape back a little bit of what we lost. One last point on this, I think it is important to not lose sight of who Trump is to Project 2025. Trump is the tip of the spear. And what follows him, I feel, is much worse. Fascist Christian nationalism, which he is paving the way for. Trump is checking off their to-do list of their 4 pillars very, very quickly. And for those of you that don't know how this works in the military, when the US military prepares to physically enter an international conflict, the combat engineers go first. They build roads, clear obstacles, create the infrastructure to support their warring efforts. If you zoom out and take a look at the path traveled during these first 6, 7, now 8 months, this is exactly what's happening here. Trump is Project 2025's combat engineer. And I will stop talking now because I know I've taken up a lot of time.
No, that was perfectly terrifying. Thank you, Chris. But no, I agree with you. In fact, part of when I was setting up that last prompt on about Gavin Newsom, we have a lot of really good Dems. We don't have a lot of really good Dem leadership. We just don't. We need good Dem leadership. We desperately need good Dem leadership. We haven't had any for a long time. And because, like you just said, if we would have had good Dem leadership, we would have been prepared for Project 2025 because they published it. They literally published it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
It couldn't have been more clear. The writing couldn't have been on the wall any clearer. Literally, the playbook is there. And if you look through it, it is a checklist and he is literally going through it. I mean, I don't know what else to say, when someone says, hey, you know what, I'm going to tell you exactly how I'm going to steal from you and I'm going to break into your bank or rob your home. I'm going to actually write it out and I'm going to give you the plans ahead of time. And then we're going to do it. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to ignore that. And we're going to talk about other things instead.
Exactly.
Really?
So like you said, either we're stupid or we're complicit. And either one of those two things are terrifying. So
yes, and leadership, the leadership you're talking about that needs to come in is a leadership that has the skill sets and the ability to address the threat today, which is different than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So I think that that's also a problem too, is that we have legacy Congress in some part that is not well suited, doesn't have the right presence of mind, the right situational awareness to really understand what's happening and the skill sets to do something about it. Not that they were even bad people. You're just, you know what? You're not the right person for the job.
Right. Exactly. And most of them are playing by the rules of 1987. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it doesn't work that way anymore. And I just don't know what to tell you anymore.
Oh, yes, exactly. Right. In 2022, I was saying to my family, I go, it's like they're using the Queen's rules of combat
Exactly.
and dealing with decorum. Like, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to slap you instead, and that should tell you what I need to tell you. And now they'll learn. Like, no, they don't care. They're feral animals, and they laugh at you, and they will take from you whatever you give, and whatever you don't give, they want that too. I think they're really boiling this down. What needs to be understood by anyone who cares about our democracy is that we have not evolved in our general ways of being in the past 10,000 years. Maker, taker. We can generally just stereotype. There have always been makers and always been takers, and the takers view their life and everyone else through a lens of what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. And the makers are allowed to make and build and create and do things so that the takers can take. And again, if you look at the way Trump has done things, deregulation, all of that is about allowing space for the makers to make. Why this vote flipped, assuming it was a legit vote, which I am not convinced of in 2024, but let's assume it was. There definitely was. Silicon Valley, the whole tech industry, and some of the financial sector flipped very, very late in the game. And it was because of overregulation. Honest tech people, companies were trying to build, and there was so much ridiculous overregulation, they just couldn't get through and get things done. So what does the taker do? The taker says, hey, you know what? I'm going to remove all the rules. You can build whatever you want to build, because guess what? I'm going to take it at some point, because that's what I do. So
Hey,
they
Chris.
also don't understand. Yes.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sorry, you said pillars, and so my brain automatically went to the pillars of power that hold up any administration of power. In this case, Trump's administration. And many of us, as members of an Indivisible organization, have been through the 1 Million Rising training, which, if y'all haven't heard of it, it's basically introducing the next phase of this resistance movement, moving from mainly like passive protesting toward passive protesting plus strategic non-cooperation, meaning not going along with the flow and kind of making yourself a pain to the powers that be, with the goal to essentially undermine Trump's administration. And that creates space for us in the future to reestablish these norms once we can regain power. So just a quick plug for anybody who hasn't watched at least sessions 2 and 3. There was a lot of repeats from session 1 in session 2. So I would say you could probably skip the first one and go straight to sessions 2 and 3. But if you're interested in strategic non-cooperation, that might be a good place to start. Okay, we've got Deborah up next.
Yep, Deborah Hawkins, you're up.
Yeah, I was just turning off my mute. I've been to just a couple. This is my first meeting with this group, and I've been through a couple other discussions about what do we want to create. And I've been a little bit disturbed because I think we're in extreme times, and the times call for out of the box thinking. And all I hear mostly disappointment with Democratic leadership. I go, we have to be more out of the box than this. I'd like to think of us as going beyond party identification, us versus them thinking, because all we're going to do is continue to divide the Democratic pie, because there's so many factions that we don't have enough a big enough coalition built to make things move in a positive direction. And I worry, even if the Democrats prevail in the next election cycle, whether we're still perpetuating this us versus them mentality. This is a bad way to really heal the country. We're not really getting together with all the people that we have really common problems and common issues with. It's all about like digging in and fighting for your little piece of territory. And I'd like to see things beyond being upset with, like, upset over like who's getting premiered out of things and how much just things that and how we're disappointed that the Democratic leaders haven't done enough, because I could agree with that, and yet I think it's really hard, very hard job, because we don't really present things. We present things as being whether you're Democratic or Republican in terms of how you identify yourself, not whether you're for something or against something. Like so many people are for reasonable gun laws, but in the end, it gets thrown out because their identification with being Republican is bigger, I guess. And I'll stop. But I'm calling for more out of the box thinking.
Okay. So, what you're saying is, instead of saying I'm a Democrat, you would rather say I'm for basic sense gun laws, like as a bigger, to get in more people.
Yes, and to reach other people besides who's traditionally been Democrats and really see what we have in common.
That I understand completely. And honestly, like I'm the head of Eastern Illinois Indivisible, and so a lot of times we take out the Democrat and Republican. We have to, because we're nonpartisan. So when we talk about issues, we talk about the issues. We just talk about what we're talking about. And I agree with you completely. And when we discuss, whatever it is we're discussing, we just take it down to the bare bones of it. We talk about just what we're talking about, and not Democrats or Republicans or even independents, because a lot of the people, a lot of my friends actually have decided to become independents because they don't want either or, right? They don't want to have anything to do with the Democrats. They don't want to have anything to do with the Republicans. But that can get in the weeds as well. You have to be very specific on your training. I would say we need to be very specific on our training. So, Julie, ma'am.
Okay, I just want to say real quick, I get it. I get not talking in terms of party, talk about issues, but if you put them in, say, a line, and you line up all the issues that the majority care about, and the things that have been changed drastically in recent months, I think we kind of have to be realistic about the fact that we need an infrastructure to win the next election, and the ones coming up mid-year. There's a lot of Democrats out there that are the old guard, whatever you want to call them, or they play the middle because they're in the middle. They're purple. They're trying to balance. I have a rep like that, and State Senator Amy Klobuchar is one of mine, and she's one of the best at playing that line, but she needs to be speaking out more about the things that, the issues. My issue is the climate change, and I agree, she is not strong enough yet. She's a very powerful senator. So I don't want her out, because she's been very effective. And I think it's a hard job. This is not an easy job. And I have followed a lot of these politicians, a lot of the Dems that are in there, like with the big bad bill. They were putting up amendments. I don't know how many amendments they tried to block. They tried to slow it down as best they could. They do not have the numbers right now. It is up to us to lift whatever Democrats or whoever the people are that are for the issues that you care about. We need to support them and put them out. We're going to be running and chasing our tails if we just sit back and criticize. We need to support.
That is true.
That is very important right now. We don't have time to lose right now. We do not have time to bemoan yes, we can call out our reps and tell them how you feel directly. I want you to be more powerful on this, that, or the other, and work from there and check on what they have been doing. I'm mad at Slotkin because instead of voting, she was on a talk show. Okay, sorry, but some of those she was getting one word out somewhere, but she wasn't voting where she should have been.
Yeah.
And that was for Gaza. So, and she said, well, she would have voted for Bernie's resolutions if she would have been there. Not good enough.
Not good enough.
I called her office and I told her that. No, sorry, they could have scheduled you another night. So anyway, yes, I agree with the issue thing, but if you line it all up, I think the issues, we need that infrastructure. And I'm telling you, it is a way to win if we work it right and we get rid of the electoral college. Okay.
And
right.
Keep in mind, when I'm talking about leadership, y'all, I'm talking about Chuck Schumer. Where is Chuck? Where's he been? Have you heard from him lately? Have you heard his outrage over what's been going on in Washington, D.C.? Have you heard his outrage over what's been happening in Gaza? Have you heard his outrage over what's been happening? Have you heard anything from him?
Not a lot. He said something about something, but I don't remember what it was. He
Exactly.
spoke up recently about something.
Have you heard from Hakeem Jeffries? Have you heard his outrage over what's been happening in Washington, D.C.? This is
You're correct.
These are our leaders, y'all. These are the leaders of the Democratic Party, and they are worthless. This is what I'm talking about. And how would we hear? They have YouTube. Hakeem Jeffries has a YouTube channel. He has the ability to get out. He could get out. He could get it out however he wanted to. He sat on the steps of the Capitol building with Cory Booker and for hours, y'all. They sat on the steps and did it. They did an amazing thing that day, he and Cory Booker, on that Sunday. And it was honestly one of the greatest things I've seen those two men do, where they sat there and they read from the Word of God. They talked to people who just came up from Washington, D.C., just members of just people from the city, and just talked about everything. They talked about everything that day. And it was hours long. It was like 16-hour long day where they put that out on YouTube. They did that live. That is what we need. That's leadership.
Is that something though, Cecilia, every single one of us should be amplifying? We should find those videos, and we should as individual citizens, we should be amplifying that everywhere every opportunity we have. We have to remember, we the people, we have to continually be the change we want.
Yes.
We have to amplify this stuff.
But Hakeem Jeffries only did that one day.
Yeah, but does he have a recording of it somewhere? Is it on
Yeah,
YouTube
it's
that
on
we
his
can
it's on
amplify?
his website. It's on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like he did that one day. He did that one time with Cory Booker. And you're right. We could all put that out and we could just recycle it over and over and over again. But he only did it one time, one day. And you're right.
Yeah, just we need to call him and say we want to amplify this, do more of the same, and
that's what I'm
bug him,
saying.
you
We
know.
need to do that. We need to
Yeah.
call his office. We need to like tell him, where are you? What are you?
We liked it. We want more. We liked
Yes.
it. We want more. And I see, I don't know if it's just algorithms, but I see Stansberry all the time, and I see Jasmine all the time on the reels. You know, I see them all the time. So there are certain ones that are out there, and I don't know. Again, it could be my algorithms, and I'm just seeing them one, but who knows anymore what's real. Anyway, but
So we've got 4 minutes before we have to end our group discussion,
Chris,
and then
and Sarah. Geez, we had hands up. I apologize. I didn't see y'all. I was just going off. Chris, you're up next.
Oh, hello. Okay, so I will quickly offer this, right? I think there are two parts here. One is the consistent messaging that we were just discussing here, meaning that not a one-off, but the conversation has to be on a near daily basis to also invite the public in nationally and to keep resonating the similar messaging, which is point two. Point two is how we say what we say to try and cross those lines of division, right? How do we bring people in, not just we the people with each other, but also how do the people in power, our elected officials, do that? And they really don't do a great job of it. But what I offer is this, is to find the items that we all align on as human beings. We focus on the issues, and the truth of the matter is, if we really think about it, the issues are not the issues. What's underneath it is a human desire for something, and I'll name them. I call them the 5 commitments, and they're simply this: family, freedoms, finances, health, happiness. These 5 things are the things every single human being cares about more than the things we choose to allow ourselves to be divided over. They transcend policy, politics, religion, ethnicity, nationality, all the other crap that we bicker over. When we get down to it on the day-to-day basis where we spend our time, our money, our conversations, our efforts, these 5 commitments are where we actually care. And this is how we bridge that gap while talking to someone, quote, on the other side, who see things differently than we do. We bring the conversation to the human element, and then we create a foundation of trust and confidence, as we do with any relationship. Now we have a firm foundation. We can build discussions that are more difficult, like issues and policies and things that divide us. We've forgotten the basic structure of the first date. Nobody asks for, unless you're in a drunken bender in Vegas, nobody asks for marriage on the first date, right? Why? There's certain things you don't do and you don't say. You might reveal it later when the relationship has a strong foundation to support the weight of the heavier items. And I'll stop there.
No, that was great.
that was really well timed. Okay. Sarah, did you want to say something real quick? We have 1 minute, and then we have to close out.
Since we're naming names, yeah, I just encourage everybody to look up Chip Roy, District 21 representative in Texas. I know some of you here are also from Texas. He just constantly works behind the scenes to push his own agenda, Trump's agenda. He was the original author of the SAVE Act. He just did something with Laura Loomer where she wanted to stop children coming into our country from Gaza for medical treatment. Chip Roy was one of the 2 representatives that approved that and helped push that. And he's just, as they say, he's just pure evil. And I just encourage everybody to put him on blast because, Texas has a lot of corrupt politicians, so calling them, that's fine. They know that we're calling them. They ignore us. And he's recently turned off comments on his Facebook posts. Periodically, he'll turn them back on, but he's turning them off because he gets so much hate. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, we know Chip Roy. But all right, Rebecca, would you like to close us out today?
Sure. So thank you all for coming. I think everybody can tell that we are all fired up. We've had some good discussion points about potential things that we can go do and who we need to go bug and bother. So let's make ourselves pain in the asses for the powers of good. And yes,
Pains
I
in the
saw
ass.
Beth cheer.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be a grammar Nazi there, but anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, you already heard me plug Vision Forward, but just again, if you are about what are we doing? What is the path forward? We have this Vision Forward project. We're about halfway through it. Tomorrow we're talking policy. So that may be a little bit dry for some people, but it is the recipe that allows us to get to the brownie of a pro-democracy society. After we have been eating all of this garbage for the past 9 months, let's get to the brownie part. So tomorrow we're putting our recipe together. So join us at 7 o'clock Central. And then we will all be back together in sorting soup. I don't know why all this is, I must be hungry, like all of these food things, but sorting soup will be getting back together next Tuesday at 5 o'clock Central. And yeah, we look forward to getting back together with you. And in the meantime, nobody's alone. This is a community. So I hope that y'all can join us sometimes in coffee and conversations. That's at 9 o'clock in the morning Central. It's every weekday. Or Fridays at 5 o'clock Central, we have Unhappy Happy Hour. Basically, just come to the same link and eventually we'll all be back together again.
Well, what will be discussed is what is in the news. What we discuss here is the hot topics that come out of coffee and conversations in the mornings. So that is how we decide what is talked about here. Yeah.
And with that, we gotta peace out because the 7 o'clock crew is going to sign on in 2 minutes and we got to get out of their way. So if you want to join us again in 32 minutes, there will be a fiscal and economic presentation, which I'm sure will be super informative and energizing. So with that, everyone, we bid you adieu. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you
everybody
so much for stirring this soup with us. It was so good seeing y'all.
Bye, y'all.